Did you know the World Cup is not just a football tournament? It is one of the largest machines ever built around attention, emotion, nationalism, public money, private profit, and the feeling that the whole planet is watching the same thing at once. On the surface, it looks simple: flags, songs, goals, heartbreak, legends, and one trophy sitting at the center of the world. But beneath the surface, the World Cup is also a map of power. It is broadcasting rights, sponsorship deals, ticket systems, host agreements, police plans, transport budgets, hotel blocks, airline demand, tax questions, VIP zones, and political image all moving around one game. So who really wins when the World Cup comes to town? The first answer is simple: the winners are the ones who own access. FIFA owns the event, broadcasters own the screen, sponsors buy proximity to emotion, hotels and airlines sell urgency, hospitality companies sell status, and politicians stand near national pride. And fans, the people who create the atmosphere, are often asked to buy their way back into the thing they made valuable. That is the hidden thesis of this story: the fans create the emotion, and the machine sells access to it. The 2026 World Cup is the biggest in history: 48 teams, 104 matches, and 16 host cities across the United States, Canada, and Mexico. More teams means more dreams. But it also means more games, more tickets, more broadcast hours, more sponsor inventory, more hotel nights, more travel, more security, and more things to monetize. Expansion sounds like inclusion. And in some ways, it is. More countries get the chance to appear on the biggest stage in football. But expansion also turns the tournament into a larger commercial surface. Every additional match is another broadcast window, another set of ads, another ticket sale, another wave of tourists, another security operation, another chance to convert emotion into revenue. Reports around the 2026 cycle have described FIFA's World Cup business in numbers that reach into the billions, with projections around $13 billion for the 2022 to 2026 cycle. That number matters because it shows what the World Cup has become. It is not only a competition. It is a financial operating system wrapped in national colors. Before we go deeper, tell me in the comments, when you watch the World Cup, do you still feel like it belongs mostly to the fans, or has it become too much of a business? To understand the machine, start with the most obvious object: a stadium seat. A seat looks like a place to sit. But economically, it is controlled scarcity. There are only so many matches, knockout games, finals, and chances to say you were there when history happened. When demand is emotional, scarcity becomes powerful. A normal product can become expensive because it is useful. A World Cup ticket can become expensive because it is memory, identity, and status at the same time. This is where the first dark layer appears. The people who make the tournament feel alive are not always the people who can afford to be inside it. A father wants to take his child to one match. The shirt is already expensive. The flight is worse. The hotel is worse than that. And then the ticket turns the dream into a calculation. Football did not necessarily become less beautiful. Access became the product. And once access becomes the product, the fan is no longer only a supporter. The fan is a customer moving through layers of pricing. There are standard seats, resale seats, premium seats, hospitality packages, sponsor experiences, VIP entrances, official merchandise, fan festivals, and travel bundles. The match is still the center. But the money is made in the rings around it. That is why the World Cup is so valuable. It concentrates global attention in a way almost nothing else can. Most entertainment is fragmented. One person watches a streamer, another watches a crime documentary, another scrolls short videos, and another listens to a podcast. But the World Cup still creates shared time. For 90 minutes, strangers across countries, languages, classes, and politics can look at the same ball and feel that it matters. That kind of attention is rare. And rare attention is expensive. Broadcasters understand this. Sponsors understand this. Governments understand this. FIFA understands this better than anyone. The game creates the crowd creates the emotion creates the audience, and the audience creates the market. Now look at the host city. On television, hosting looks glamorous. Cameras arrive, fans arrive, flags fill the streets, restaurants prepare, and leaders smile beside the trophy. But beneath that image, a city is being temporarily reprogrammed. Roads change, police schedules change, transit systems are stretched, public spaces become controlled zones, businesses adjust hours, workers change routes, and normal city life is reorganized around the event. Safety, crowd control, sanitation, emergency planning, traffic, staffing, accessibility, and public order do not happen because a logo says so. Someone has to pay for them. And sometimes the public absorbs costs while the private system sells the moment. This is not always corruption. That is what makes it more interesting. Often it is legal, contractual, negotiated, approved, and planned years before fans ever see the fixtures. The most powerful systems do not need to hide in darkness. They hide in agreements nobody reads. A host agreement can shape signage, sponsor rights, security obligations, ticketing rules, tax treatment, city branding, transport plans, and what can be sold near the stadium. The fan sees flags. The lawyer sees clauses. The tourist sees a festival. The finance department sees overtime. The mayor sees visibility. The resident sees road closures, crowded trains, higher prices, security barriers, and a city that temporarily belongs to something larger than the people who live there. That is the second hidden truth. The World Cup does not only use stadiums. It uses cities. And once a city becomes a stage, everything around the stage gains value. Hotels can raise prices, airlines can sell urgency, restaurants can capture crowds, ride services can surge, merchandisers can flood sidewalks, and media companies can turn every corner into content. The winner is whoever owns a piece of the path between emotion and access. If this hidden map is making you see the tournament differently, hit like and subscribe to listen in the dark. We are not here to destroy the magic of football. We are here to understand the machine built around it. Now look at one of the strangest parts of modern football. Even a pause can become inventory. In a hotter, larger, North American World Cup, hydration breaks may be necessary for player safety. But in the commercial map, a break can also become a space for advertising. That is the logic of the machine. It does not only monetize the action. It looks for value in the gaps between action. The whistle stops play, the player drinks water, the broadcaster gets a window, the sponsor gets attention, and the viewer stays inside the frame. The World Cup does not just sell football. It sells proximity to emotion. And that proximity can be attached to almost anything: shoes, phones, soft drinks, airlines, banks, cars, delivery apps, streaming platforms, and political narratives. A brand does not need to be loved if it can stand beside something people already love. A city does not need to solve every problem if the broadcast shows the skyline at sunset. A political leader does not need everyone to agree with them if they can stand near a trophy while the crowd is cheering. That is the hidden economy of association. The World Cup also sells nationalism in its cleanest form. For 90 minutes, a nation can feel united. Class, politics, region, age, and language briefly collapse into one shirt and one scoreline. Governments know it, brands know it, broadcasters know it, and FIFA knows it. National pride is one of the few emotions that can turn strangers into an audience without needing to explain the plot. That is why the World Cup can be used for more than sport. It can project stability, openness, ambition, safety, wealth, modernity, and cultural power to the world. For some countries and cities, hosting is not just about tourism. It is about being seen a certain way. For some corporations, it is a chance to borrow the emotional trust of the game. For some political figures, it is a chance to appear inside a story that feels bigger than politics itself. But what about the players? They are the reason the show exists, but they are also part of the pressure system. More matches can mean more minutes, more travel, more heat, more recovery stress, more media obligations, more sponsor demands, and more pressure from clubs, countries, fans, and federations. The modern footballer is not only an athlete. He is labor, image, content, asset, national symbol, and advertising surface at the same time. The body carries the cost of the calendar. That is why the question of who wins cannot be answered with only one name. FIFA can win because it controls the tournament. Broadcasters can win because they sell the shared attention. Sponsors can win because they attach themselves to national emotion. Hotels, airlines, hospitality sellers, ticketing systems, security contractors, merchandise companies, and local sectors with the right position can win when demand explodes. National federations can receive money. The 2026 tournament includes a record distribution reported at $871 million for participating teams. Some workers and small businesses can benefit too. Some fans will have the best day of their lives. Some cities will gain visibility that normal advertising could never buy. That is what makes the World Cup complicated. The joy is real. The goals are real, the songs are real, the tears are real, the childhood memories are real, and the feeling of watching your country play is real. And that is exactly why the machine works. It does not replace emotion. It monetizes it. The costs move into ticket prices, hotel prices, travel costs, public budgets, security bills, transport pressure, neighborhood disruption, worker stress, player fatigue, and fan exclusion. The fans create the atmosphere. The system sells it back to them. So when the next anthem plays and the camera moves across the crowd, look beyond the flags for a second. Look at the sponsor boards, the broadcast rights, the hospitality lounges, the hotel rates, the police lines, the city contracts, the VIP entrances, the workers, the tourists, the taxpayers, and the fans who could not afford to be there. That is the full map. Not just football, not just business, but a global ritual where love, money, power, and identity all meet under stadium lights. Maybe the final question is not whether the World Cup is good or bad. Maybe the question is this: when something belongs to everyone emotionally, should so few systems control it financially? If this story made you think, like the video, subscribe to Listen in the Dark, and tell us in the comments, who do you think really wins when the World Cup comes to town? Because the trophy is lifted by one team. But the machine has many winners. And most of them never touch the ball.